I remembered that I was halfway through a chapter. I feel like I haven't read for ages. So here is the second part of chapter 16 of Journey to the River Sea. Not long to go. Look, not very much of the book to go at all. So, the professor was right about Gonzales. He arrived at the Carters the next day, along with two unpleasant-looking henchmen. Gonzales was a Brazilian who had traded in the Amazon for many years, and he was not a nice man. But he dealt fairly in business, and Mr. Carter had now exhausted his patience. Mr. Carter took him to the study, but the walls were thin, and it was almost impossible not to hear what Gonzales was saying. "I've had enough," he said in Portuguese. "Either you let me have what you owe me in full, or I'll take legal action." Then the Carter's voice low, whining, "I only need a few more weeks. They're bringing in a big batch of rubber from the north of the estate. It'll fetch a good price." "That's not what I've heard," said Gonzales. The voices went on for a while longer. Gonzales is loud and Carter's a low mumble. Then Gonzales threw open the door, bowed to Mrs. Carter, gathered his henchmen, and was gone. For 2 days after Gonzales had come, Mr. Carter tried to sort out his papers and his bills. He even went into the forest, a thing he did not often do, to encourage those workers who were still with him. But then a little packet came from England with the greatest prize he'd seen yet, a double set of navy blue eyes. "They're from a captain in the French army. He was blown up in battle. Look how they match. It's incredible." And he disappeared again into his study and wasn't seen except for meals. Mrs. Carter had started to write to Lady Parsons in England, covering the paper with her hand whenever anyone came into the room. She wrote several of these letters and tore them up, but in the end she was satisfied with what she'd written and posted the letter herself in Manaus. As for the twins, their happiness did not last long. At first they made lists of what they would buy, the dresses, the shoes, the hats, the boxes of chocolate. If Beatrice decided to order a flounced party dress in pink organdy, Gwendolen decided to order one in blue. When Beatrice thought she would buy some proper scent, Gwendolen said she was sick of boring lavender water and said she'd have some too. "You don't have to copy me," said Beatrice crossly, and Gwendolen looked at her blankly. The twins had always copied each other. Mrs. Carter had asked them to share some of the money with their parents. "Your father's having a hard time, girls. I think it would be kind to let the whole family join in your good fortune," she said. But the twins absolutely refused. "It's ours. We need it. We don't want Maya to have money and not us. We want her to go." So now the twins became suspicious, first of their mother and then of the servants. "They're always hanging around," they said fretfully. This was true. Tapey and the others, remembering their promise to Finn, took every chance they could to see that Maya was all right. Hiding their money became the most important thing to the twins. At night, Beatrice hid her banknotes in an old doll's pram, which she kept by her bed. Gwendolen slept with hers under a mattress. They took the money with them to the lavatory. They took them with it to the dining room when they were doing their lessons. By now, they'd stopped planning on how to spend the money. They just wanted to look at it and count it and gloat over it. From being suspicious of everyone else, the twins became suspicious of each other. They suspended a piece of cotton between their beds so that one of them couldn't creep out at night without waking the other one. Then Beatrice developed a septic throat and couldn't go to the dancing class, and Gwendolen wouldn't go without her in case her sister stole the money while she was away. But what worried Maya was not the way the twins behaved. The twins had always been odd. What worried her was the feeling that Minty was hiding something from her, that the governess had a secret. A few days after Gonzales had come, she knocked on Miss Minton's door and opened it to find her kneeling on the floor putting books into her tin trunk. She looked up quickly and shut the lid, but for the first time Maya felt she was interrupting something private. "I'm putting some of these away. I've found some ants in the Shakespeare." "They must be really tough ants," said Maya, to hold out against Mrs. Carter's sprays. "Ants are tough," said Miss Minton, and changed the subject. But Maya continued to feel uneasy, for she had a feeling that what Miss Minton had been doing was packing. "Oh, Finn," thought Maya, "I know I should be glad you're free and happy, and I am glad, only I really don't know what to do here anymore." But Finn wasn't happy. Both he and the boat seemed somehow sluggish, and he couldn't quite get rid of the knot in his stomach. He had moored by a huge dyewood tree. The water flowed quietly in a deep channel. Nowhere better could be found. So why? He'd had this supper of beans and roasted maize. The deck was piled with chopping wood. The dog had gone ashore to find his own supper and come back with a smug expression and blood on his jaws. Everything was fine. A group of howler monkeys came swinging through the trees, making their evening racket, half screech, half laughter, and stopped when they saw the Arabella. "Perhaps I should have gone to Westwood," thought Finn. "They'd have knocked all this rubbish out of me, for seeing dangers." What what did he think had happened to Maya and the Carters' bungalow? The whole point about the Carters' bungalow was that nothing happened in it. It was the most boring house in the world, and the Indians had promised to look after her. No harm will come to your friend, Fioro had said. So why did the unease get worse all the time? He remembered saying goodbye to Maya. She'd come out of the house in her dressing gown. She ran so lightly, but when he'd hugged her, she felt wonderfully solid. No, Maya would be all right. I'm not going back, said Finn aloud, and in the trees the monkeys threw back their heads and roared with laughter. That's the end of chapter 16. Next one, chapter 17. Ooh, it's getting good. It's getting good. I'm a bit like Finn. I've got a knot in my stomach. I feel like something's going to happen. Do you? Okay, hope you're enjoying it, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!